This will be a critical XRP market update that every XRP holder needs to hear. I know there is a lot of hype and speculation going on, but we need to be realistic. We need to face what is the trend right now. We have to understand what's going to happen on the short term. And I do have some bad news to break for XRP holders, but stick to the end. I also have some very good news. So what to expect in this video? Well, I'm going to start with XRP chart. I'm going to bring that to the screen in a second. I'm going to give you my honest opinion about the current market circumstances. I'm going to tell you what I expect to happen in the next week. So I'm going to give also a short-term perspective. And then we're going to jump into a mid-term, long-term perspective. And if you are looking for an entry for XRP, I think this video is going to be extremely helpful. I'm also going to give you some of my favorite entry points. If you do have some liquidity on the sidelines and you want to increase your XRP bag, I'm going to give you my honest entry points. And I'm going to go beyond. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the current market dynamics. Yes, I know the crypto markets can be very stressful, especially when there are corrections. But the first thing I need you to understand, if you hold XRP, this correction is not associated to XRP itself. The first thing you need to understand is that XRP is still correlated with BTC. So today's correction has nothing to do with XRP. Well, the first thing we need to understand is that XRP could be about to lose the critical support level that I highlighted here on the chart. That's the orange box that you see on the screen. The first thing we need to watch for $1.88. That's a critical support level on the chart. That's the orange box right here. And right now we are dangerously close to that area. Now, losing that level could mean XRP could face a correction all the way to this yellow line here on the chart. That's $1.60. That works as the most important resistance level on the chart right now. First lesson is that if you are seeking an entry to XRP, this is not a financial advice, but this is what I am doing myself. So I do have some massive buy orders around $1.60. But here is something you need to pay attention. There is a high chance once XRP touches this yellow line, we're talking about $1.60, it will immediately bounce back. That means we could have a bounce back even above $1.80. This could be a smart play. This could be a great way to capitalize on these trades. This could be a way to get XRP at discounted levels. But here's the trick. You don't want to set buy orders at $1.60 because everyone has the same mindset. So there's a very high chance that if you place your buy orders at $1.60, someone else's order is going to be executed. It's very likely the correction will be short-lived. So you really want to outrun the masses. Now, my strategy, I do have some massive buy orders at $1.65, $1.63. That's definitely my buy zone. So you want to be looking for this area here. For us to talk about any bullish momentum on the short term for XRP, we need bulls to regain control at $2.30. And unfortunately, I don't see that happening in the next weeks. So right now, the trend is definitely bearish. I'm not even buying at this level because I fully believe we're going to see lower levels. But hold on a second. If you don't hold any XRP, I don't think you should wait at all. This is not a financial advice. Remember, I have a large XRP bag. I'm a holder since 2017. So I do have my XRP in cold wallets. I'm not selling those XRPs. I'm just looking to increase my bag. If you don't hold any XRP, I think that's a very risky move to just wait for a dip with the crypto markets, and especially with XRP. That might never come. So now let me break the bad news before I finally can give you the good news. The bad news is that if XRP loses $1.60, we could be going much lower. I don't want to see that scenario because I know a lot of people use derivatives market. A lot of people are long on XRP. And unfortunately, that can liquidate a lot of positions. I know that might even be an orchestrated move that might be intentional. They probably want to liquidate some long positions on XRP. That's why I highly recommend you be very cautious with leverage trading. As you can see, I highlight this on the chart. I call this the apocalyptic zone. Losing $1.60 could be catastrophic. We could indeed go to much lower levels, even below $1. My honest opinion, if that happens, I think we could go as low as 70 cents. I think that's definitely on the cards. I have to be realistic. I wish to come here and tell you that it's 100% bullish. I really wish I could come here and tell you we're going to be at $10 at the end of the week, or perhaps $100 before 2026. But that's not the reality that I am watching right now with the current trend. XRP is still following BTC. And in order for the decouple, we need a change in the macro scenario that's way deeper than what most people comprehend. That's not something that I believe is going to happen in the next 2 or 3 weeks. However, I do have some good news. And the good news is that the macro scenario keeps getting better and better for XRP. With the Clarity Act, we have a complete reset in the definition of cryptocurrencies. XRP was formally approved as acceptable collateral for the CFTC-regulated derivatives platform. And with that fundamental change, XRP is right now being treated as gold. In other words, XRP is being treated as a commodity. This will have massive implications on how institutions see XRP, and I'm preparing a massive video. I'm preparing perhaps what I consider to be the most important video I ever done about XRP. That should come out in the next 3 days. So as fundamental investors, we need to be looking for the big picture. Honestly, the chart doesn't even matter if you understand what you hold. If you truly understand how important XRP is going to be to the global economy, institutions can now hold XRP as a recognized commodity, lend against XRP, and integrate XRP into structured financial products. And this honestly is much more important than ETFs. I think ETFs are about speculation. This puts XRP in a completely different category. This opens the floodgates for financial institutions to integrate XRP into their balance sheets. And this is where I see XRP finally fulfilling its purpose, replace Nostro Vostro accounts. That was the original intention that Ripple had for XRP. And I truly believe we could be just a few steps away. Is this going to happen next week? I don't think so. Is this going to happen next month? I don't have the answer. I think it's going to require more time. In order for XRP to fulfill its purpose, operate as a global reserve currency, replace Nostro Vostro accounts, we need a fundamental geopolitical change. That's going to be a painful transformation for 99% of the population, and that's why we are positioning ourselves ahead of the time. Good news, bad news, that all depends from your perspective. Because if there is inflation, because if there is a global liquidity crisis, if there is inflation on the rise, and you own appreciating assets just like gold and XRP, inflation works on your favor. Good news, bad news, XRP dropping on the short term. If you are looking to increase your XRP holdings, you definitely should see every drop as an opportunity to increase your bags. Now, if you enjoyed these comments, let me know where you are based. You help me with the algorithm. This video gets more comments. It's going to be delivered for more people. I truly appreciate every single one of you, and drop your XRP price prediction for 2025. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to see you in the next video.